nature, a delicate balance exists, crafted through millions of years of evolution. Each creature, regardless of its stature, plays a part in the grand scheme, contributing to the intricate web of life. From the towering elephants to the elusive snow leopards, every being has its place in the natural order. However, amidst this diverse array of life emerges a force capable of altering the fabric of existence, the ever-advancing tide of human civilization. As we stride forth in our quest for progress, the ripples of our actions spread throughout the natural world. With each step forward, we leave a trail of irreversible change, extinguishing within a few decades species that took millions of years to evolve. In the grand timescale of nature, we erase whole species, seemingly in the blink of an eye. The resilience of the human race has not only disrupted nature, but has severely damaged it. From our ancestors who hunted countless species to extinction, to the severe damage caused since the Industrial Revolution, our impact on nature has consistently worsened with no sign of stopping. Throughout history, humans have brought numerous species of animals to the brink of extinction. Many animals we know and love today could have only existed in history books if not for considerable, concerted efforts to bring them back to stable levels. For instance, my mascot, the sea otter, was nearly extinct by the 1920s. The reason isn't because it was necessary for something like food, which you could make a defense for. Humans almost made the sea otter extinct because their fur was a commodity. Sea otter fur is incredibly soft and was used to make fur coats. Sea otter populations got potentially as low as 1,000, but they were thought to have been extinct for some time. In 1938, around 50 otters were found living off the coast of California. These 50 or so otters were used to start the rehabilitation of their entire species. They are still endangered today, and places like the Monterey Bay Aquarium are fighting hard for these little guys. The story of the American bison is a stark reminder of how the march of civilization can sometimes trample over the natural world. Once massive herds of bison roamed free across the plains, their numbers possibly reaching between 30 to 60 million in the early 1800s. However, as settlers moved westward, the fate of the bison darkened. The incoming railroads brought along hunters who were relentless in their pursuit, hunting bison primarily for their hides, but also to make way for the cattle grazing lands and to undermine the Native American tribes who relied on bison for their needs. By the closing of the 19th century, bison numbers had dwindled shockingly to fewer than 1,000. But with the turn of the 20th century, hope emerged. The desperate plight of the bison caught the attention of some caring individuals and policymakers. A handful of surviving bison found a haven in Yellowstone National Park, shielded from the threat of hunting. This modest group laid the foundation for a slow but steadfast recovery. Meanwhile, private citizens and organizations began to foster small herds, making the start of a long journey towards revival. The American bison population has bounced back to over 500,000, finding homes in national parks, refuges, and private lands. The bison, a living symbol of the American wild, once again grazes the open plains, reigniting the essence of a wild and unyielding frontier. The northern white rhino once roamed in the grasslands of East and Central Africa. However, poachers began killing them in droves, driven by the insatiable demand for rhino horns. Their numbers began to dwindle alarmingly. The horn, mistakenly believed to have medicinal properties and also valued as a status symbol, led to the relentless hunting. By the turn of the century, only a handful remained, their existence hanging by a mere thread. The narrative took a more desperate turn as, by 2018, only 2 females, Najin and Fatu, remained, protected round the clock by armed guards at an animal sanctuary in Kenya. The last male, Sudan, had passed away, taking with him the natural hopes of species survival. However, this bleak narrative has a beam of scientific hope. Conservationists refuse to let the species fade into oblivion. They turn to groundbreaking reproductive technologies. They aim to revive the northern white rhino through in vitro fertilization and stem cell research. Eggs from remaining females and stored sperm from deceased males are being used in a pioneering effort to create viable embryos and hopefully bounce back the population of the northern white rhino. The northern white rhino's tail is a solemn reminder of the human-induced peril many species face. The sea otter and bison were saved with little time left. Time will tell if the northern white rhino will be a tale of humans righting their wrongs or tragedy. Unfortunately, not every species has been so lucky to have received our benevolent protection from ourselves before it was too late. The dodo, which I'm sure we've all heard of, typically seen as a punching bag used to tell jokes about, it was made extinct at our hands. The dodo lived peacefully on an island called Mauritius with no natural predators. They weren't even scared of humans. They were discovered around the year 1500, and the last dodo was killed around 1681, less than 200 years later. Humans would kill and eat them, and since they laid only one egg at a time, they kept driving the population down. Animals brought by humans, like pigs, would also eat the dodo eggs, further speeding up their extinction. Once upon a time, not too long ago, the skies of North America bore witness to a spectacle of nature that was both astounding and awe-inspiring. The passenger pigeon, a bird of such plentiful numbers, painted the sky with its presence. Its flocks stretched for miles and darkened the sky under the shadow of its sheer multitude. The early European settlers were baffled by the seemingly endless stream of these birds, with flocks estimated to have numbered in the billions. The passenger pigeon was not just a spectacle, but also a resource. Its abundance made it a staple food for indigenous peoples and the settlers. The bird was hunted for its meat, which was said to be tender and flavorful. As settlements expanded, the hunt for the pigeon became a commercial endeavor. By the 19th century, hunting technology had advanced with the advent of firearms. The commercial appeal of pigeon meat, coupled with the ease of hunting, led to an industry that harvested pigeons on an industrial scale. However, as the relentless hunt continued, the warning signs of decline began to surface, yet were largely ignored. The vast swarms started thinning, and the endless flocks began dwindling, but the hunting persisted. The nesting grounds of these birds were raided, the eggs were harvested, and the adult birds were killed in masses. It was a classic example of the tragedy of the commons. What was everyone's was no one's to protect. The last large nesting was observed in 1878, and by the turn of the 20th century, the numbers had plummeted drastically. The wild passenger pigeon became a whisper, a tale told with a shake of the head. The last of its kind, a female named Martha, breathed her last in the Cincinnati Zoo on September 1st, 1914. Marking the end of a species that once ruled the skies of North America. The tale of the passenger pigeon is a poignant chapter in the annals of human and nature interaction. It narrates the grim reality of how abundance can breed negligence and lead to an irrevocable loss. Along the chilly shores of the North Pacific, there once were gentle giants known as Steller's sea cows. Named after George Wilhelm Steller, the explorer who discovered them in 1741. These peaceful creatures were a spectacle to behold. The Steller sea cow was the largest relative to the manatee. They were huge, stretching up to 30 feet long, and had a sweet, passive nature, making them easy and fascinating subjects for human curiosity. Steller's sea cows were herbivores, happily munching on kelp and seaweed, their days revolving around peaceful grazing. They were, in essence, the cows of the sea. Their calm existence took a turbulent turn when humans entered the scene. Steller's discovery of these sea cows was both a revelation and a curse. The sea cows' large size and inability to submerge quickly made them easy targets for hunters. They were hunted for their meat, which was reportedly tasty and abundant, and their fat, which was used for oil. The bountiful, easy-to-catch food source was too tempting for sailors and hunters of the time. The slaughter began not long after their discovery, and it was brutal and relentless. The Steller sea cow population was already small due to their limited range and couldn't withstand the assault. Just 27 years after humans discovered them, the last known Steller sea cow drew its final breath in 1768. The swift extermination of these gentle giants is one of the fastest and most thorough cases of a species annihilation due to human actions. It's understandable that some animals faced extinction in the past, particularly if they were hunted for food. For a long stretch of our history, humans didn't fully grasp how delicate many of the world's ecosystems were. But our track record didn't stop at just wiping out defenseless species. We also pushed out apex predators time and time again. Apex predators are the predator which is the top of the food chain in their habitats. Even some of the most fearsome animals on the planet couldn't stand up to us. In the secluded wilderness of Tasmania, a creature with stripes like a tiger, a body akin to a dog, and a pouch resembling a kangaroo once roamed. The Tasmanian tiger was a unique marsupial carnivore that held the title of top predator on the island of Tasmania. When Europeans sailed to Tasmania in the early 19th century, they brought along their sheep hoping to build a new life. But soon their sheep started disappearing and everyone quickly blamed the Tasmanian tiger. The government, wanting to keep the settlers happy, decided to put a price on the head of the Tasmanian tiger in 1888. This meant if you hunted and killed one, you'd get a nice chunk of change. Suddenly, everyone wanted to hunt them. The hunting spree, new diseases from dogs, and losing their home to farms and settlements plummeted the number of Tasmanian tigers. It wasn't long before spotting one became a rare sight. The last known Tasmanian tiger was caught in 1933 and kept in a Hobart zoo. Benjamin, the last of his species, lived there alone until he died in 1936. With his last breath, the tale of the Tasmanian tiger came to a heart-wrenching end. Residing in the Atlas Mountains, this unique bear was the only known native African bear species. Long before modern days, during the expansion of the Roman Empire into northern Africa, the destruction of the Atlas bear began. The hunting spree started as the Romans entered Africa around 146 BCE. With its formidable might, the Atlas bear found itself the target of sports hunting and the horrific spectacles of arena combat, where these bears were captured and forced to fight to the death or used for the execution of criminals. This cruelty was not just a one-time ordeal, but a recurring nightmare that went on for centuries, pushing the Atlas bear closer to the abyss with each passing day. Fast forward to more recent times. The Atlas bear's fate was sealed not with a spear, but with the bang of a gun. The advent of modern firearms brought about a deadly efficiency to hunting, where once the bear might have stood a chance, now it faced a foe it couldn't outrun or outfight. The Atlas bear's number dwindled as overhunting surged, reaching a critical point where their march towards extinction became a sorrowful reality. But the onslaught didn't stop at hunting. The demand for exotic creatures in faraway lands beckoned, and zoo collectors heeded the call. The few remaining Atlas bears were captured and taken away from their homes and each other. The chance for them to reproduce and possibly ignite the spark of revival was stuffed out as they were carted away to live the rest of their days in captivity, away from the wild lands they once roamed. And so the sun set on the era of the Atlas bear, leaving behind a story tinged with melancholy, a solemn reminder of the footprints we leave in the sands of time. It might appear as though human-caused extinctions are tales from a bygone era, but the harsh reality unveils a different narrative, one that continues to unfold in the here and now. The most intimidating predators, from the far-flung corners of our world, are teetering on the brink, their roars echoing a cry for survival in a rapidly changing landscape. Our children and our grandchildren may never experience the thrill of witnessing the majestic stride of lions or the stealthy prowl of tigers, even within the confines of a zoo. Instead, these magnificent beasts might only roar in the pages of history books and flicker in the pixels of archived videos. The eerie thought of a world without these apex predators isn't just a loss of natural wonder, it's a crumbling pillar in the delicate architecture of our ecosystems. These predators, fearsome as they may seem, play a crucial role in keeping the balance, ensuring that no single species runs rampant to the detriment of others. Yet the real apex predator, humanity, seems to overshadow them all, casting a long, unforgiving shadow across the wild. The drumbeat of human advancement marches on, often drowning out the whispers of the wild. The stories of the past and the endangered narrative of the present show the stark reality of our unyielding conquest. According to Wikipedia, we have made over 100 animals extinct at our hands. Our presence on this planet has often come at a steep price for the myriad of other life forms that share this home with us. Each species that vanishes leaves behind a void, a silence where once there was a unique voice in the grand chorus of life. Our actions, knowingly or unknowingly, have set off a chain reaction that reverberates through the tapestry of life, altering the rhythm in ways we have yet to fully comprehend. As humanity's domain spreads, the wild spaces shrink, the wild roars grow faint, and the natural world loses its vibrant diversity. You may be wondering what can be done to stop this domino effect our ancestors started. It might already be too late. The reality is that cutting back on water use and your carbon footprint can only do so much. We need large-scale, worldwide collaboration with the primary focus on stopping what we started. And if we don't act quickly, we might be the only predators left.